I don't really care what other people think, but oh, fucking crap that. Well, let me tell you, and you know this is fight, crap that's have saved my fucking life at times. Some of the most professional guys I have met. The reason why I got sacked, because she wanted me to fuck her, right? And I said, I'm sorry, I'm a married man. I don't do this. Well, I remember telling you when you said your ambition was to be in the fire service, and I went, fucking hell, don't do that, Chris. Look, it's shit.
Welcome to another episode of the Old Paratrooper podcast. But before we get started, I want to talk to you about our sponsors, Veterans for Veterans. If you left the military after 1987 and your hearing's taken a knock from your time in the services, click the link in this video. No win, no fee. See if you're eligible.
So put me notices in my resignation letter. And I tell you how fucking dumb people are. So I go in this office and so writes me resignation letter as of etc. etc. So the person who received the letter said, "Oh, are you going anywhere nice?" So I said, "Well, right." So I went, "Oh, that would be great. Are you taking the family with you?" And I just looked and I thought, I'm not even replying to you because you're the fucking dumbest cunt I've ever come across today. Are you taking the family? Yeah, of course we are. Yeah, dickhead. So I'm back this time back in comms with Dom Gray, who's giving me a sit rep and all this, fucking pop in, phone number, all that business. And so did the Phoenix course, met some sterling men on there, and he was there that I met a guy, big Scouts lad, Chris Doyle, and over a beer one night, he said to me, "You're the reason." I didn't quite get it at first. "You're the reason. Because I saw what you guys did in the Falklands and I wanted to be you," he said. "So you're the reason I'm here." And I'm thinking, I can't handle that. You know, for a long time, and I'm talking decades, I couldn't accept compliments, Chris. That's, you know, that feeling, no, there's a lot better people who should be complimented than me, that sort of thing. But I can now accept compliments. And I believe that when a compliment's given, I should at least be grateful and gracious and say, well, you know, thank you very much for that, and not put a but on the end of it. But really, I didn't do much. So did the Phoenix course, loved it, working with some legends. Obviously, remember Monster, don't you?
Monster, what's his name?
Steve Adams.
I must do, yeah.
X22. Yeah, Monster, large as life.
On Convoy?
Huh?
Was he on Convoy?
No. He was one of the instructors on the.
I never did the Phoenix course. No, I never did the Phoenix.
I just thought you might have seen him because he's still on the circuit, or he was still on the circuit then.
I may have encountered him.
Yeah, and so got that done. Obviously, with Armour Group that ran it. So get an interview, put my CV in. I've got all the CV done, and the Phoenix course was great. It was good. All this bullshit with the SIA license. That was just nonsense. That was just robbing money off everybody. It gave you no qualification at all. The SIA licence I'm talking about here. So I go for the interview down in Buckingham Gate. I get a letter a couple of days later. I thought I'd done all right at the interview. Unfortunately, at this moment, I've got this letter. And when I'm feeling down, I'll open that letter and I'll look at it and I'll think, yeah, and I fucking proved it all wrong, didn't I? So get this letter, like, no. So fucking hellfire. So at the time, like, my brother, Martin, features quite heavily in my life and stories. So at the time, our Martin was the coach at Fulham Football Club, and the head physio was a guy called Phil. So they were great mates. So I get this letter and I'm thinking, right, I need to find a new way to skin a cat. So I'm looking around other companies. So I see Blue Hackle and all this business. So I've got all my stuff set out, send them, see what I can do. And I get a phone call. And it's from Bex. Now, do you remember Bex at Armour Group?
I do remember Bex, yeah.
Absolutely the most wonderful woman I've ever met. Fantastic. "Hi, John." So I said, "Hi." She said, "I understand you came in for an interview, so-and-so." So I said, "Yeah, I did." I said, "I got the letter and that." I said, "I get it. You know, I'm 50 years old and that." She said, "Have you got a brother?" So I said, Yes, I have. I've just got one brother, Martin. I said, he's the coach at Fulham Football Club. She said, right. She said, well, my husband Phil is the physio. So I told her, Martin, I'd been not accepted for this. So he's then told Phil. So Phil's gone to Beck and said, listen, if Martin says his kid brother is real deal, is a good man. So I got another interview. So day after that, I'm back down to London, got the interview, and there I was on the Convoy. I looked at page 2 straight away and saw all the zeros and thought, fuck. and
tax free as well.
Oh, mate, yeah. So incredible. And see, education actually starts when you leave school. And travel is a great education, as is people watching.
Yeah.
You get me? And
yeah.
It does sound like them. Do you get me? Anyway, I'm just a young gangster. Yeah, so, yeah, I've never been to Dubai. I ain't got a fucking clue about Dubai. I'd read up on everything. I'd read up on all sorts of fucking shit. And so went out there, went to, obviously, Baghdad first, Victor 1, and then down to Camp Gasson. Did all the weapons, all that sort of thing, all the medical stuff. And, the convoy. And it was there that I discovered. Now, I don't really care what other people think.
I think I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
All this crap out thing, fucking crap out. Well, let me tell you, and you know this is crap outs have saved my fucking life at times. Some of the most professional guys I have met, light infantry, green jackets, especially light infantry and green jackets, some super soldiers there. Because growing up as a para in the 70s, other regiments hadn't got a good reputation. They had it. As soon as we hit Bosnia, Iraq, Afghan, mate, they went straight up there, top of the tree. Some really good lads. But yeah, convoys, mate. Yeah, getting in that wagon, you're going fucking full belt until you stop. So you do remember coming out of Qasr, you go along the desert road, wouldn't you? And you ended up coming to the Italian bridge, or the Romanian bridge, as it was. Now, everybody got headaches going over the Romanian bridge because they'd got some kind of tricky East European ECM stuff on there, which I think were fucking people's heads up. But the Italian bridge, you know the history of the Italian bridge?
I don't know.
Right. Well, the Italian bridge stopped being the Italian bridge and they put the Romanians in. It was the World Cup. The Italians, who were guarding the bridge, who comes over this way, who goes over that way, decided the decision that everybody should go into their little camp and watch football. And when they came out, they discovered that the bridge was being run and administered by the Marty army.
Wow.
No shots fired, but a point was made. You had one job to do. I'm not saying all Italian soldiers are bad, because I've worked with some really good ones. One of them, by the way, had stainless steel teeth. Danny Gamiano, he was a Folgore, a trooper for the Folgore. Anyway, yeah, so the Italian bridge then became the Romanian bridge because he couldn't be trusted on that bridge.
Right, I never do that.
Right. Then there was the, as you headed up further towards Scania, now I can't, there was some big intersection and there was quite a large village over on the left-hand side as you barreled up at the MSR. And they positioned there, you know, the Coalition of the Willing, they put some Mongolian soldiers in there. So the Mongolian soldiers have got not the MRAP, they've got the Hummers, right? And obviously they've got Dushka on the back, haven't they? Their very first job, they went out and they fucking levelled everything with the Dushkas. People were dead and everything, and they had to be spirited out of the country. And in the Coalition of the Willing, Korea was a part of it. I met the one Korean who they sent in the Coalition of the Willing, one. And all he did was at the buyout, he checked the wagons we were delivering up, which were going to be put out to either the police or I can't even remember their army anyway. But I fucking loved the convoys. Days were filled. You had a job to do. clear job to do. Going up the MSR, come on, your eyesight's really on point. You're looking for everything. You're looking for every single tiny little combat indicator, something not right. You got your man out the front there, and he's giving it all the way through what he can see, so you know behind him. It was a grand existence. I worked with some extremely good Aussies and Kiwis. One, again, God bless this man's soul, Magoo Clarence Renata. Everybody knew him as Magoo, and his catchphrase it was Tickety Boo, and so his name, Tickety Boo Magoo. Super bloke, great operator, looked somewhat like a tanned Elvis. And he died back home rescuing his kids from a riptide. To me,
oh, wow.
Wonderful, wonderful man. I'd said, quite clearly, the fascination with tattoo. I said, he got a few, like, and I said, would it be impolite for me to have, a Maori tattoo? So he says, no, I don't think so. So he says, but what I'll do is, he said, I'm Skyping my grandpops tonight, his granddad. And so I saw him the following day, and he went, right, he says, Granddad's had a great idea. He says, it's no problem that, you're British bloke. He says, because I've told you, we've got this great respect, nice, polite, everything you should be. And so across here, it says, Etu Kia Matara. And the words mean the head of the war party would stand in front of the blokes. The blokes would all squat down. And his last words were, Etu Kia Matara. And it means, stand, we're ready. And I thought, I love that. So, yeah, got it done across it.
Ah, nice one. But that's where we met. We met on Convoys. I didn't know you before that.
Correct. Yeah.
And then obviously, as fate would happen, obviously my order of events very similar to yours, Power Age, but obviously I did the CP, then the fire service.
Well, I remember telling you when you said your ambition was to be in the fire service, and I went, "Fucking hell, don't do that, Chris. Don't do it. It's shit." That's why I'm here.
I know, and I had to find out for myself, didn't I? And I got to the 12-year point. And like you said, it's difficult, though. You were 50, I was 45. And you're stepping away from that career that you that's a secure career in your pension traps. Yep. And it takes some balls, doesn't it?
I think far better when you have that self-confidence, the confidence in yourself, you can do this. So just relate it by, it's to the first jump out of an aircraft you ever did. If you don't step off the step, you'll never know. And that all it is, just stepping it off. It's still behind you and everything. And there's still, I suppose, there's some latitude for you to go back if you wanted to. But for me, I weren't having that. I wanted something different. I really wanted something different. And for a guy like me, with still an active interest in history, I've been to Babylon. I've seen an Archimedes screw working live. I've stood on one of the oldest buildings in the world, the Ziggurat at Talil. Stuff I'd never seen. Me just cruising down in the fire service like that on the lazy stream and that, and not feeling satisfied. And I had a great time, mate. I had a great time. Fucking loved it. So we, obviously on convoys, as you know, the gunners were the Iraqis, driving interpreter Iraqis. Right, so I'm running, I'm Gary Roberts, 2RC, right, and we're going up to, I think we're going up to Mashada, the bypass. Mm-hmm. Quite famous for getting white. So my driver at the time was called Ali Dub being fat, right? All he needed to keep going all day, right? I measured this. 2 big bags of boiled sweets would get you to Scania, right? He just loved sugar. So anyway, so we're in the yard, right? We've got all the wagons and that. We're checking fuel, doing all this business, like. And he's been acting just a bit odd. And I think we're supposed to roll about probably 07:30, I think, something like that. And then the turf came up, and a guy called Safa, who actually lives in Sheffield now.
All right,
another tale in that, but yeah. He said, John, it's called Gary. He said, Ali Dub wants to speak to us. I'm thinking, what the fuck's this? So me and Gary went up, sat down, they've got a brew on. I said, what's the problem? He said, well, basically what the guy was saying was, if we leave at 7:30, it's likely we will die. He said, if we leave at 9 o'clock, we'll be fine. Oh, a bit fucking odd, isn't it? So we thought, so we go back to ops room, tell them exactly. Don't quite know what this is, but we're listening to local knowledge. So just up the road at Camp Booker, a US call sign got EFP, 7:30, 7:45. It turns out that Ali Duck worked for Armour Group as a driver on the convoys, a driver gunner, but was also a member of the Mahdi Army, the Iranian-backed Mahdi Army, Muqtada al-Sadr. But on saying that, he probably saved our life.
Well, he was a good ally to have.
By doing that. So what were happening at the time, the Iraqis were getting a bit of an hard-on with the Mahdi Army, and so they were arresting people. They'd arrested two of his cousins, threatened him with execution if he didn't give himself up, this, that and the other. And it got quite tense for him. We was all right. Got quite tense for him. So we got up to, we did our drop-off anyway, and on the way back, we got to Scania. So like you saw, it's only one more up down in it from there, Scania, Talil, and then Qazar. And so Safa came, had a chat with me and Gary. He said, I don't want to make your lives difficult, but basically, if Ali Dub goes back to Qazar, the Iraqi army and the police are already there to arrest him. They'll take him away, they'll interrogate him, they'll fucking torture him, and they'll kill him. So me and Gary said, well, right, what do you want to do? He said, well, we've made an arrangement to meet some of the Mahdi army fighters on the desert road. We'll transfer Ali Dub into their car, right? He'll go wherever he's going, and we just have to come in. So we've obviously kind of had to clear this with our project managers and that, and explain, because out there, mate, some of them situations are just bizarre. So this is bizarre. So a guys,
we were lucky enough to work in that area like that time, sort of when the conflict started till 2011, 2012, when it was just lawless and you got away with doing all sorts of shit. Not in a bad way, but the rules were bended when it needed to be, wasn't it?
So anyway, the Mahdi Army guys, there were 4 of them, and they were in a Toyota Crown Custom, which, as you know, for Shiites was their Rolls Royce. The Crown Custom, that were big news, that Billy Big Bollocks car. So we did transfer over. That were it all safe. That man debombed his magazine, took his uniform off, folded it up perfectly, ID card and everything. He acted like a gentleman and did it. And that were it. We never saw him again.
It's just the way it goes, wasn't it? And it was, like you say, there were a lot of stuff that went on. And people forget, when they came and worked on contracts for us, they were putting themselves out there and on the line to be targeted and their families.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know when we used to take, especially the young ones onto the convoys, they had to come with at least the dad. So the dad was fully aware of what the lad were doing and was in the loop. So I think the recruitment that we had was quite ethical, even though that was kind of above our pay grade, weren't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you do know about the, the huge dick that was spray painted on the roof of Victor 1. Did you not hear about that?
No.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Well, yeah, somebody sprayed. Well, you could see it from Eagle Eye and Google Earth. The actual fact. Yeah, big yellow dick. So we did the same on Tampa, except ours were bigger. Well, it were a bigger road. I had a great time. I laughed a lot, fearful a lot. Sometimes just going into something. I had a great time. And I remember coming back, and I'd not told my parents that I was working in Iraq, because at the time Afghanistan was really, it's party capital, weren't it? 2000, 2009. And so I think it was FHM magazine, which for some odd reason I still had delivered to Mum and Dad. Anyway, Dad had opened it and had a look, and on the front page it said the top 10 most dangerous jobs in the world at this time. Oh yeah, number 1, convoys Iraq. I had some explaining to do, but there are times when, especially with your parents, you have to be economical with the truth.
Yeah, of course you do, yeah.
My dad used to say to me, he'd say, I'd come on leave and that, and obviously go see him and that, and say, when are you going to get a proper job? And I went, Dad, it is a proper job. I'm paying, the mortgage and everything, and the lads have got what they want, etc. He says, why don't you do something like stick carving?
What?
Stick carving, Dad.
I can see that suit you down to the ground, John.
Mate. Yeah. Well, I mean, I do like a blackthorn stick, a gentleman's carry. But yeah, stick carving, Dad. No, I'll stick with what I'm doing. So Christmas 2008. Obviously, the contract, that was a funny contract there, because it expanded and contracted and
Yeah.
expanded.
Well, I were only there about a year, maybe a little bit longer, because I came in, I escaped a cull, and then on the next cull I kind of went, which was good, I went on to different contracts. It was just the way it was, but
So then get another job offer, which I'm real grateful for. New contract starting up in Kabul, UPOL, the European Police Commission. So I have a look at the wages, and the exchange rate, for the euro was pretty fucking shit. But it was still more money than I earned at the fire service. So I'm still on this. It was all right. So yeah, got to go start this contract. Brand new. They got no weapons. They got basically fuck all. They just got a load of men in who had just come off the convoys. So it was there we met guys who'd gone onto this new contract with us who'd only done Afghanistan, right? So we guys coming over, we've been in fucking plenty of contact. We fucking blokes who've been fucking EFP, and these people here with it might sound cruel. You've got no knowledge and fucking experience of what you're doing. And when we saw how they operated, mate, fucking hell. You know that route planning? But they didn't do that same fucking drive every fucking day, setting yourself up for the foot. Anyway, beside the point. So we end up, fucking hell. I get called into Mark Spandler's office, who was the Afghan man. And he said, I've got a job I'd like you to do. So I said, right. So he said, well, because you've run convoys, he said, your M4 rifles, some AKs and a shitload of ammunition are being flown into Bagram. So I went, right. And then he said, can you remember them Dumb and Dumber trucks that they bought for the guys on convoy who were out of Victor 1?
Yeah.
Do you remember them there?
Yeah.
He says, what I thought was we could demonstrate, because what we're going to do is going to try and start running convoys here. And I thought, that ain't going to work, mate, because Helmand, even though Kabul were calm and quiet, Helmand's hell. So I said, right. I said, what I want to do, I said, because you've got now some really experienced team leaders, more experienced than me. So there was Big John Bates, there was Chris Watson. I mean, these guys knew it in and out. Chris Watson, former Do-Some Rep, and Big John Pathfinder. So we get his heads together, how we're going to plan it, how many vehicles. So we've got jingle trucks and we've got this Dumb and Dumber thing. We only got about 10 kilometres out when it fucking broke down, irreparably broke down. We had to leave it at the side of the road. So we're now getting late to go up to Bagram, you see, because a deal's been done somewhere. We were lucky because in Iraq we had the correct card. No, the American card.
The DOD.
Yeah, the DOD card. So we'd got that. Whereas most of the guys on the contracts in Afghanistan had only got the armour group thing. Well, as you know, accreditation's everything.
DODs were the way forward, weren't they?
So with the DOD, yeah, and the rank of approximately Lieutenant Colonel is me like
Yeah.
Like that, yeah, I'm feeling it, baby. Yeah. So we get up to Bagram, and we obviously, because we're all ex-convoys, we've all got DOD cards. We get in, nice and fancy, do nothing to it. And so we've got the instructions where we're going. We pull up on the pan, and there was this white aircraft. Tailgate were down, and I've got, I think it was 2 cases of vodka in the back of my vehicle, and I've got the 2 cases of fucking vodka. Delivered them to the bloke, put them on the back of the aircraft. He started unloading. So I think we got something like 50 or 60 M4s. Each one with 2 magazines. There's not much there, is there, if you get in trouble? shit ton of AKs, shit ton of AK ammunition, 4 PKMs, and I'm thinking, I'm a fucking gun smuggler here. Quite, what? So, yeah, so we ended up getting them back. The Dumb and Dumber truck had to be towed back, and we stripped anything sensitive out of it, right? And Chris and John knew this wagon well, so they knew how to take things out. But yeah, there weren't very much left of the internal workings of this vehicle. Seats, the lot had gone, and we'd probably only left it there 2 or 3 hours. But as you know, they can sweep everything up.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, so we're on that convoy. It's absolutely bloody brilliant. So it's a good night's sleep and that. At the camp, Armour Group's camp, they had a bar in it. Well, I'm not at work to drink. I'm at work to work. The clients represent my mortgage payment, my food bill, my this, that, and the other. I'm not there for the social life. My social life came through work. We're chatting to blokes. I don't need a fucking beer to do that, as you can probably see now. So, all right. So, yeah, I'd only been there about a week when I got told of being a team leader. Well, I didn't want to be a fucking team leader. I didn't. I was just happy being about. I'd have been happy just being the rear gunner in the rear vehicle. Like, I'd have been happy with that. So I took it on, this team leadership, and it worked out well. Most of my team were jocks, right? They were brilliant, and some very, very good shoplifters as well. Right? No, I mean the blokes, the stories of their lives and stuff like that. It was just absolutely brilliant. So I always felt quite inspired by the guys, because even the rottenest, stinkiest little thing had got a story behind him, that made them lovable rogues. So we start the contract. So we get issued Mercedes Panzerungs, right? Most of them have got ECM fitted in the back. So all of a sudden, almost a third of your vehicle has got no stowage space in it because of this electricity in the back. And then the funny thing was, the Europeans insisted on it, and obviously it's for RCIEDs, right? Hardly ever saw RCIEDs out there, and they'd paid millions of taxpayers' money to have these things fitted. So, as you know, in the Mercedes, they're not really good for space. And the people who have got the least space in the vehicle are your client or clients in the back. So at least you've got a bit of room. So before we could take them out on the street, we had, I'll not name it, the chief instructor in charge of training. And he was going to show us exactly what these vehicles could do. So we're stood at the side of, let's just say, the drill ground. And he comes screaming and, oops. He fucking rolled the fucker. Brand fucking spanking new Mercedes Panzerung. Now, as you know, when an armoured vehicle's on its side, it's very, very difficult to open that fucking door.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, eventually he got out and he couldn't even look at anybody. But then again, we couldn't look at anybody because we were crying with laughter. And we're supposed to set your advice. And that eventually kind of haunted him. Because every time you try and do a lesson plan, right, is that the best you can do? Because we do remember you driving. Excellent. So, yeah, so started to, so I've gone from convoy then to being a CPO. Really enjoyed it. Kabul, fascinating place. My grandfather was over there I think he was in the 5th Afghan War. Yeah, well over 100 years ago. Mum got a photograph of him stood by a fort. The photograph was of the fort Kalola Pushta on the way up to the Russian embassy in the zoo. So kind of walked to my granddad's footsteps. I was fascinated by the place. In fact, on my desktop now, I have the photograph of on the last contract they did, we had a roof garden. And straight away there, you've got all the ISAF headquarters down here, but you've got the Hindu Kush, and I've got this photograph, possibly in April, and it's snow-covered. It's just immense. And how fascinating I found it. So I ended up as the CPO for the head of the EU, a guy called Javier Salerno. He'd come across with a Belgian close protection operator who hadn't operated there, and he's the only man I know that I've ever seen. He's got a Serpa leg holster on, and he got, I think, 8 magazines on the other leg. Mate, you've got one on your shore. If you're going to need 8 rounds, you are in deeper shit than a pistol's going to get you out of. So anyway, I must have impressed this Mr. Salerno, because he asked me if obviously going through the chain of command, I was his PPO for the day, and we were going to the palace to meet Ahmed Karzai. Right, so I didn't meet Karzai. I saw him in the doorway. That was all. And but what happened? We're just there in the yard. There was one rule, for the palace. If anyone ran, they would be shot dead. Didn't matter what it were. It was walking pace for everybody. Anybody that ran, it was a death sentence for them. Anyway, we're all housed up and down. We've got bruises and all that business. And I got chatting to a young, highly intelligent NDS officer, and there can be a bit dodgy. He took me and I saw part of the Bactrian Horde. That's the gold from Alexander the Great. He took me and I couldn't touch it because obviously it's in glass cases. And I have no idea where the Bactrian Horde is now, but I think it might have disappeared with either Ashraf Ghani or the other fella, Karzai. But yeah, I took him to the bookseller of Kabul. He'd been reading up. He said, why is Meat Street called Meat Street? So guy we're driving for us, Ian, another sound lad, remake, but he used to fit all the SF cars out. Anyway, so we took him for a grand tour around the city because it were calm, mate. It were calm. I mean, they've got that fancy name for it, risk assessing now. Look, what could go wrong? Not a great deal. The city was really, really quite peaceful at the time. So I gave him the grand tour. And in return, he bought me a book about the Bactrian Horde. And I got a really nice letter, saying for me how much he'd enjoyed the whole experience, yeah. And the Belgian guy, every time I saw him, gave me stink eye. I don't know why. Probably because I took his fucking client off it. So, so Yulpo was all right. There were a few incidents. There were Finns there, couple of Finns. There were a couple of Polish people. There were the Germans. There were the Italians. There were the French. The Italians in their Giorgio Armani tailored uniforms and that. But what I'm getting to is, there were the Canadians there as well. Canada and the tectonic shift that Canada's now in Europe somehow.
Right.
I always thought it was top end of North America, but obviously we're on. Good guys, but they were good guys, good women. So I end up with a client for the day. He was over 6 feet tall, blonde hair, and a stunner. Her name Heike Poov, and she was in charge of Berlin's anti-terrorist team. So the script was always, if a client is armed, right, the weapon is loaded, but it is not by any means ever made ready, right? That's it. Well, guess who indeed into the bonnet of our brand new Mercedes? It weren't me and it weren't here.
Oh, no.
And she wanted us to cover it up. And I went, right, I said, if you just look round, there are people sat all round, they've seen this, can't possibly do this. I said, and plus for the fact, that round has punctured the radiator on the vehicle. I was clear with it. When I did my bonnet briefing, it was like, weapon will not be made ready at all. And it's like listening to it all the time. I gave them comprehensive briefing and everything, route in, route out. But a big lost all because most of them don't take any fucking notice anyway. As long as you know what the plan is and what your plan B is and your plan C, your plan D, and your plan, yeah. Didn't see her after that. It was strange. But I mean, Kabul was a bloody fantastic experience, Chris. It really was. I mean, another world. And to go in the Gandermike, where the Gandermike was like going in the cantina in Star Wars, a hive of scum and villainy, except there were probably no politicians, but gun runners, all sorts of dodgy American characters, all sorts. And obviously, you take the clients up there and you withdraw. They send you that text, you then go in. So we actually went in but didn't go in, because it went a social thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, definitely not.
When did you wrap the CP up, John? Was it after Kabul?
Right, where did it go from there? Oh no, right. So no, the CP continued because when UPOL shut down, I was offered a place on British Embassy South in Lashkargah. So I went down there, which for me was a whole better ball game because you're really in there, you're really in the lion's den, as it were, you know. So you've got, I would like to say, I played my best game every single day, Chris. I had to do it. I loved it from the moment I woke up. My brain's ticking. Right, got this, got that. Have you done that? Yes. How's this? How's that? What's the latest in from there? I just enjoyed it. So it was there I realised British Embassy South how much money the British government waste and the US government at the time waste on fucking projects. I went out with two young the diplomats, I don't know. They had given, I believe, $2 million to a guy who supposedly had got an apricot plantation. Right? So it's this big walled off compound, probably 4 acres, and these, what I thought were twigs, all planted in rows, it were all lovely. And there's a fire hydrant, one of the American ones. And obviously, on a fire hydrant like that, well, not obviously, there was a key. So I thought, it's extremely arid in this compound. And I'm thinking, So I took the key, I opened it up, there's no water, which immediately then alerted me. I thought, how strange. So I walked up to one of these apricot trees, which were about yay tall, and pulled it out of the ground. They hadn't even used secateurs to cut it off. They'd been ripped off a tree, right? These were branches from different random trees, two fruits, all that sort of thing, put in there. And these two were going out doing all the big selfie things like this. $2 million. And it's a bust. And they're congratulating themselves. They used to send Afghan rugs up for the shops in Lambeth Grove and all that, Ladbroke Grove. There were some clients I loved, and there were some clients I liked, and there were some clients when I thought, I just don't fucking, I don't want these people. But I treated everybody exactly the same, professional, did it my way. But some of them, drink and drugs, Chris, that were another one with them. Fucking clients fucking buying hashish. Mate, fucking, what's the matter with you? Oh, hang on. Oh, it's coming. Oh, shit. Hang on, it's Allium. One sec like that.
Well, I'm gonna have to wrap up in a minute myself, mate, because we're at the 3-hour point.
Right, Chris, do plenty of cutting on it.
It's all right. No, it's good. It's good. I might put it out in 3 parts.
Okay, right. Well, as long as you're all right with it, and as long as you're
Yeah.
And now I know I can get it on the phone. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
So I'm British Embassy South. I'd worked with a guy called Will on the UPOL contract, and he'd gone to work for Pax Mondial, right? And he gave me a call one night, and he said, "What are you doing?" So I said, "I'm in fucking Lash. I'm here." He says, "What's money like?" I said, "Well, not as good as I want." So he made me a better offer. He said, "Come down." He said, "It's all USA stuff we do it." So I ended up boosting my wages up quite a lot with that. So I worked down there, still in Lashkargah, right opposite Manlove Park, and mate.
Yeah, I know, it was a weird setup, wasn't it? I saw that when I was out there 2002 with Paratrooper in Kabul. I heard of that sort of shit.
Batty, vile, insidious thing. Thank goodness we've invited most of them over here. Anyway, just a point. So I worked for Pax Mondial then for a good few years. I'll tell you in private why I ended up getting brown lettered.
Okay.
And it was because of something that I wouldn't do.
Right.
I'll tell you now.
Go on. Well, I can edit it out if you don't want it in.
Edit it out, right? Female client, right, with a serious drink problem, right? And I'm attuned to this because, drinking wit out didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Christmas Day, we're doing the cooking, all the PSD guys, like the expat PSD, we're doing all that meal, right? She rocks up, must have been 9 o'clock. She is absolutely fucking chemixed. She's completely, not even making fucking sense. So I go outside because she's getting on my nerves, but she's a client, she's my wages, We go outside. And I go and sit in the garden. She comes out. And the reason why I got sacked, because she wanted me to fuck her, right? And I said, I'm sorry, I'm a married man. I don't do this. I don't do, hit and run, none of that. I said, I'm really grateful that, you thought I'd tried to be right about it. She went there and complained to the project manager. The next thing, I got.
Well, that's what you had to be careful of, that sort of shit.
I got sacked for refusing to shag a client. But
I've got to leave that in. John.
I could even tell you her name.
I'll take it out.
So, right. So, done that. Then various contracts. Jesus, right. I got one from Pax Mondial, right. 31 days, a full month, driving around Afghanistan. I think we did 8 or 9 different provinces. Koringal Valley, we were up there. All around Jalalabad, all over the place. But for 31 days, totally unsupported. 1, 2, 4 vehicle move, 2 armoured, and obviously we got Afghans working with us. Lucky as well, because the Afghan PSD team commander turned out to be a really good friend of mine, Tajik guy, called Zyla, Commander Zyla, mate, with a real deal. His mother used to skin Russians when they were captured.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, we did 31 days, self-supporting. I saw things, Kalajangi. Went up, had a look around Kalajangi, all the northern provinces, past the Salang Pass. When I realised the first time going over Salang Pass, there were 2 vehicles in front of us, and I wanted them out of the way. I wanted to get us into the tunnel. I get out of the car, and I feel really odd. And I'm thinking, the fuck's up with me? Altitude, John. Altitude, airsteam. Quickly got back in vehicle. But yeah, so Salang Pass, I've done it 4 times. Once in the dark. And that, my friend, is when people talk about exercise, diet, nutrition, try crossing the Salang Pass. It is the greatest glute workout ever. Your backside does not untighten until you get down on the flat. But a wild place. And the tunnel we went through is a tunnel right through the Salang. It's kilometres long. And that's where the Mujahideen, a Russian convoy had gone through. They dynamited both ends and just waited to try and escape. They just picked them off like rats coming out of a trap. Horrible place, frightening.
That's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. So Mazar was not impressed with members of Old Town. The Swedes didn't want to allow us in our camp, even though we got ISAP cards, right? So it was all legit. They were probably the most unhelpful people I found there, and they never ever patrolled. The Germans were the same. Now, I was really surprised about that, but the Legion up in the northern provinces, they were kicking ass. They were properly kicking ass. They are a good bunch of men, then. So, so I did these 31 days, and I come back and I borrowed some stuff from the guys from British Embassy North. So I rocked back up there. I said, look, I said, just come back. I've got a map. I said, I've got the map, so I'll return them to you. So I get up, and as we pass through the safety checks to get into, I can't even remember the name of the bloody camp in Kabul. The guy, one of the team leaders from British Embassy North, come up, and he put me in this barrel. He got tears. He said, I was convinced that you were going to die on this. However, you've come back unsupported after 31st day it were. But it were what we did. Right, I haven't mentioned the 2 clients, and I'm going to mention it here. One was Afghan, but with French nationality as well. And the other one, who turned up at the 11th hour, so we didn't know anything about him, was an American. But he had a look about him. And it was quite clear they knew one another. Now, what the project was about, this is what we were briefed on. It was for them to assess whether or not there was going to be a famine, because it had been a particularly hot summer. particularly light rain, not much snow on the mountains. So that's the remit. And we were going to go and visit farms all over the place. Chris, I've been to villages, they'd never seen a white man before. And they'd never seen a man, shaitan, like this. Wow. So we've got these two clients. I'm PPO. I've got two clients in my car. We've got a really good skilled medic, Sean Ely, in the back. Brother runs X-Med or ran X-Med. Really switched on, proper switched on medic. Which helps us as well, because the villages we went to, we'd always say, if you've got anybody that's ill, we have a doctor here. And Sean wasn't a doctor, but an extended skilled medic. And so it kind of smoothed the way, you get a little bit more from people by, just being right with them.
Yeah.
So I had a chat with Will. I said, there's something I'm not getting about these two. There's just something not right. So we went for lunch. That were another one. I had a kebab and I didn't realise that I'm sat on the floor in one of our Afghan PST team's members. It was his uncle or his uncle's next door neighbour or something. I'm leaning up against this wall eating this burger and Zyla's laughing. So I've eaten this kebab and I sparked a cigarette up and Zyla's laughing at me. And he went, "Are you sure?" So I went, "I'm just having a fag. Do you want one?" He went, "Look behind you." And the wall was all dynamite. Boxes of dynamite. You like this?
Quick, move.
So I went in the back of the vehicle and I opened the suitcases. And in each suitcase was an M4 carbine, really short, and several magazines. And we had to have it out with them, what it was. And they were CIA, or they were, what do you call it, a 3-letter agency.
Yeah.
Why haven't you told us? Why have you not told us? Because that changed the ball game totally, doesn't it? Like so weapons in the back of
These
the
are
car.
high level kind of, you want to know if you've got high level clients that people might know about.
I saw my first Desert Fox out on that trip as well. But like I said, 31 days unsupported and got back safe and sound. Don't know how we did it. Well, I don't know how we did it because we tried to do everything the right way. So from there, worked for Pax. There, I got an offer to go and work for Shield. So this is where our stories come back together here, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Went to Shield. No idea about Maritime, but the guy that got me into it, a guy called Richard Stanley.
Yeah, I know Rich.
He just gave me expect. He said, "That easy, really." He says, because all it is, it's a compound defence, except you're moving slowly in one direction or the other. And it's like, and of course, I mean, stuff like that. You don't have to be a Royal Marine, because when you note, a lot of the Royal Marines who were on Maritime had got no service on fucking ships anyway. But because they were Marines, they readily accepted that they knew what the score was. Really enjoyed it. Worked with some great blokes there. I mean, come on. Denny Barriat. You know, Denny.
Yeah.
Man's a legend. Cyril Huste, Cyril Varion. I can name the Polish guys, the Russians guys.
Yeah.
So I soldiered through the Cold War, right? And it was always the Red Horde, the enemy at the gates, this, that, and the other, we're all gnashing their teeth and all that. And it was only then, all those decades later, when I realised that we're all just the same. We've all got exactly the same needs. We've even got the same sense of humour. So all this, Russians are bad. Shut up, because you don't know Russians. I do. Poles, Bulgarian. I work with some great guys on that. Great guys. And 2 Highlander.
Yes, I know who you're going to say. Pat and, oh, gosh.
There's Pat Ferguson, a
Top bloke.
solid young operator in, because he's just that wee bit younger than me. Andy Crawford. And then the legendary George Geddes.
George Geddes said, that's right. Them three.
GG.
Them three. Because he was in good shape, Crawford lad, wasn't he? He proper good shape. He's into his training, wasn't he?
I took him out on his first deployment. So I'm in the airport hotel in Cairo, or just outside Cairo, and it's idyllic. It's blue sky. So I'm on a sunbed, big pot of coffee. I've got my book, fags. I'm just in hog heaven. And I got a message from George Geddes. He says, he's a young friend of mine. He says, you'll like him. He's on your he's on your team. So he says, name Andy Crawford, all this business. He says, you like him, he says, and he's not frightened. He says, he's not shy on the trigger at all. So I'm there in the sun, and all of a sudden, some cheeky bastard, all of a sudden, the sun's blocked for me. I thought, fuck's sake, there's only me heart here. And it was Andy Crawford. Come, nice formal introduction and all that. He said, I've heard a lot about you. So I said, if you come recommended by George Geddes and young Fergie, I said, that's good enough for me. Well, he stripped off and I went, mate, you've got a right physique on you. I'm just working on it because he was so very understated. I thoroughly enjoyed working on the Maritime. I worked and met some brilliant people.
Yeah, same.
Absolutely, just loved it. And the difference. So you start finishing Sri Lanka or Cairo or fucking Durban,
Oman or wherever, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah, Muscat. Just fantastic. But then again, that travel that broadens the horizon.
Yeah.
But going back to the story of Frau Hackman and the bar. So I'm with a young Polish lad, Karol Nowakowski.
Top bloke.
Absolute top operator. And probably one of the best sense of humours I've ever heard. He's fucking
Good guy. I did a few transits with him, yeah.
There's a Catholic church in Galway. So I just went for a wander. I mean, you can find stuff from Gravestone. Well, we got in there, mate, and I'm looking on these and there were a lot of them, gravestones. And I thought, that looks like the SS Totenkopf. Oh, look, Gunther von something is buried here. So the rat lines didn't just go to South America. They went to Sri Lanka as well because they lived there.
Oh, there you go.
See, I'm in different centuries here, aren't I?
Oh, you've gone full circle now.
Yeah, so I saw that. But again, Sri Lanka, it's the first time I've seen a tea plantation live, Chris. And the cricket club in Colombo. Wow, it really goes back in the day.
Yeah.
We bloody hell. We stopped in some fucking proper good hotels. We stopped in the Galadari, right? And it was like stepping back in time to the days of the hardwood floors polished. You could smell the wax polish on the floor. It's fucking brilliant. And again, working with some really good blokes. A guy called Fred. He was Commando Hubert. They kind of the French SBS, I guess they are. Yeah, for meeting guys, definitely the Maritime was super.
Did you ever meet Yusuf?
Yusuf, yeah.
The Moroccan Foreign Legion guy.
That's right.
Yeah, I had a lot of time for Yusuf. He was in my team. We kind of split. He was team leader for some, I was team leader for others, and sometimes he'd be in my team, sometimes it'd be a good guy.
He called Kanzabia Fanta.
Yeah.
Fanta, yeah. Yeah. Oh, mate, I mean, there were some guys there, like one guy, and you have to forgive me because I've got a million names in my head. He walked from Belarus to Marseille just to join the Legion. Hadn't got a penny in his pocket, no passport, no driving licence, nothing. He had the clothes he stood up in, he hitched rides, he grabbed onto trains, the old oboe thing. You got to look at these people and think, I admire you, because most people were just sitting there fucking misery in Belarus, right?
Oh, yeah.
These guys decided, no, we're not fucking doing that. We're worth more than that. I worked with an awesome French guy as well, a French paracommando, Serge Rougeau. He lives in Joburg now at the moment. It's going back to Convoy, there's this one on Maritime. Sir, how many languages do you speak? He says, 7. So I'm like, how do you do that? I mean, I have got little bit fluent in 7 languages, and the last one being Afrikaans, which is notoriously hard. And I said, well, how long did it take you to get, colloquially into speaking? He said, I'm speaking okay after 3 weeks. And I'm like, fuck off.
Some people pick it up, don't they?
Yeah, but I found the guys, especially the East Europeans from the Legion, where they had got that. The Eastern Europeans have gotten really well. I didn't get overly well with the French Legion guys. I don't know if you felt. Right, well, there are very few Frenchmen in the French Foreign Legion because it's not allowed. So I think Denis Barriat identified as a Basque or one of these minorities. But anyway, got in.
I think there was some French army lads that worked for Shield that I didn't, not necessarily Legion, just French armed forces, and I didn't warm to a couple of them.
Yes, yes, but I mean the project manager Cyril Hustet, mate, legend, and he was a French para before he joined the Legion, and he had to kind of curve into the Legion, but wonderful character, an absolutely wonderful man. And then the other guy was Cyril Valiant. One day, he was further up the chain, and of course Ted King.
Yeah, he was the owner or whatever he was. Yeah, strange. It was a strange old company though, wasn't it?
It was the first and last Korean Walter Mitty I've ever met. He rolled up, and it might have been New Year's Eve or Christmas Day. He rolled up to do a transit with the lads. He charged his own company, even though he didn't do one what, right? He just sauntered about the vessel, right? He got a fucking day's wages, TL's wages, for every day we're on that 9-day crossing.
Tax dodge.
Turned up, full body armour, and a big Bowie knife on his chest. And I'm like,
wowzers.
What are you going to do with that? If we get attacked, I said, look, if we get attacked, I said, what's going to happen is that's going to be taken off you by these skinnies, and it's going to be rammed up your arse. I said, your best bet is either bag it, and by the way, don't forget you've got customs on the other side, or I'd chuck it in the drink.
Well, that was the thing that I noticed. I saw some blokes out there, and you know yourself, you weapons a lot of the time were locked away, and then brought out if you needed it. So you were cutting around in cargo bottoms and a t-shirt, you know, cap on, a bit of sunscreen. But there were guys that I come across that had that much kit, but I was convinced they didn't know how to use it. It was a bit, some of them, transits I come across. You'll know the names. I'm not going to name them, but I come across some guys that were like, and they were a bit envious that you were ex-British Parachute Regiment as well, because it was held in good esteem. But there were some foreigners that were a bit like, do you know what I mean?
Well, don't forget on Shield, we built our own reputations with Shield. They could see that we had worth.
Yeah,
and that's why they recruited guys like yourself. They could see they were worth in us. And that, to me, that's a massive feather in the cap. Maritime. I remember we did a transit, and it was galley to Port of Suez, and for either 7 or 8 days, as we're heading across the Indian Ocean. So there were 3 or 4 different radars, weren't there, on the bridge for different coverage. We didn't see on radar or from Mark 1 eyeball and binoculars one other vessel in all that time. And I remember stood on the bridge wing looking up at the whole of the Milky Way, because we just got the two little lights on, because obviously I had to have them on, but we were running blacked out, and I stood there and looked up, shooting stars, comet, and I realised, Chris, that I wasn't even a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things. I was nothing, absolutely nothing. And it kind of gave me a great grounding and a more of an appreciation of life and everything. But to stand there on a ship's bridge, it's entirely dark, and I can see the whole. I mean, you can't see the Milky Way from here. Too much light pollution. I could see the whole of it, but how insignificant I was. Just not even a grain of sand in the grand scheme of things.
Best night sky you'll ever see, though.
Absolutely.
Did you ever see the luminescent plankton as well that you cut through with this ship?
Yes.
How incredible was that? I've tried to describe that to people, and it's incredible. It lights up everything. Doesn't it?
Amazing, because you're carving through. Well, I had a Nissan, a Nikon Coolpix. So it's just a shoot and scoop camera. I'll send you the photograph. I got 4 photographs of dolphins playing in the bow wave, and when you just take that, I know it's not pornography, the money shot.
Yeah.
Well, I have got 2 of the best money shot photos that I could have ever thought. One's 2 of them, and they both tumbled over each other like that, all while spinning. And the other one is almost entirely upside down. So nose pointing down, tail pointing up. And it was just like that, snap. Oh, I'd name check another guy from Shield as well, Kieran. Some
Yeah. Kerry Summers, good guy. Yeah.
top operator. I'd had people. Kerry was on my on one of my teams. Obviously, you know those people that we wouldn't really fucking speak about because they're wankers anyway and shouldn't have been there. You'll have to watch him. Very headstrong, all this business. So I thought, no, I met my own fucking mind up. You can't tell me about this guy that I've not met. I've not done my own assessment. What an operator. Absolutely spot on. Born in Devon, and then all of a sudden decide it's not for him, joins the Legion. Top operator though. Kieran, good guy.
Yeah, nice. I didn't have any dramas with many people out there. There were just a few that I come across that were a bit arrogant and a bit know-it-all. And that's the worst type of leadership, I think, coupled with being incompetent, is people that know it all and won't take advice. You've seen it in the fire service multiple times. So I just wanted to know, did you feel finished with Shield and then you did you go into retirement, or was...
I finished with Shield and then I got a 2.5-year contract in Kandahar. There's lots more to me than those.
Wowzers.
Listen,
you had a whole... There are certain people, right, that literally are just meant for conflicts, and you strike me as one of them. Have you ever come across Dave Caskey?
No, I haven't.
You remind me of Dave Caskey, who was Legion, then he were Power Edge. He's doing got to be in his late 50s now. He's out doing anti-poaching in Africa. He just loves that type of thing and being in them scenarios. You know what I mean? So yeah, you liken me to him, buddy.
Right. Something I discovered in my life. I'm more comfortable in hectic situations. It's then when I everything pulls together and I'm there and my thinking's clear. I can see we're going to go left here, we're going to go right here. But when it's all coming down on top, I somehow have managed to always come up with a plan to get it right as well. And I'm still here, aren't I? But right, well, listen, right. So if you want to wrap it up. Now that I know the script now, we can do another one and I can tell you all about Kandahar.